does.
What?
It smells
Do
like,
it?
It smells like pumpkin.
Smells like pumpkin? Smells like wood. All right.
It smells like pumpkin.
I'm just trying to adjust the
It smells like raw pumpkin.
looky look. I'm going to move you around anyway. So Darian's about to start a fire, so there's going to be noise over there.
But
Hey, Darian, say hi.
what? Hi.
Hi.
I'm doing things.
Yeah, hi.
Uh,
Let me see. Check the time. Okay. What are you? He's dropping stuff all over the floor. All right. Let's see. What time is it? It's close enough. All right. So, hello, everybody. I'm Tasha. I'm your Simple Solution Specialist, and you are live from the Smoky Mountain Homestead, which is better than being dead, right? So I'm going to move you around a little bit because I've got milk on the stove. Tonight we are making homemade goat cheese. One of our favorites. I love goat cheese.
Just like cheese.
Yeah, I do. He says I just love cheese. I love cheese and almost all kinds of cheese. Not like the gross stinky cheese, but you know, I love brie. Oh my god, it's so good. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about your equipment first. So you're going to need a stainless steel pot. Or you could do a cast iron one, you know, that's coated in enamel. But hi, Julie. But I just don't. I like the stainless because I know absolutely that it's non-reactive with any of the cultures or anything that I'm going to use to make my cheese. So I'll show you this one that I have. It's a pretty good size one. So you need that. Here, let's go over here so I can check this temperature real quick. You need one of the big long, you can see that right there. It's a long one. The stem is really, really long. So, ooh, we're almost up to temperature. Thermometers. I don't like the digital ones just because, you know, if you run out of batteries or whatever, then you're screwed and you can't make cheese. So, and if I can't make cheese, I'm a sad, sad girl. You also need muslin. So let's talk about the muslin. You need butter muslin. I mean, you could use regular muslin. The difference is, you can see this one. This is regular, just cotton muslin, but it's got lots and lots and lots of holes in it. So if you use this, you're going to have to use several layers to keep all your curds in. You don't want to lose your curds. Nobody wants that. So what you need is butter muslin, which is, you can see it's it's a lot more fine than, it's more of a clothy cloth than that. And I just got this online at, I think it was the New England Cheese Making Company or something like that. I just bought a bunch of it. So, and then I just wash it and reuse it. I've had this for years and I keep using the same one. So, and it works. You'll need some kitchen twine or just like twine, regular, just stringy string. It doesn't have to be rope. I mean, you're not on a ship. And scissors to cut your twine. And I use a wooden spoon, but you could use a stainless one with holes in it, whichever one flips your pancakes, a strainer, and a bowl to go underneath your strainer because you're going to want to catch your whey. Okay, so in this pot, I've got 1 gallon of fresh, raw goat's milk. Yeah, so I put that in there, and then I want it to come, I want the temperature, you got to do this super, super, super slow. Otherwise, you're going to scorch your milk on the bottom, and then your cheese is going to taste scorched. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to move you so that you're not getting glaried in. Move you like that. How's that? So, it's not much better, is it? So we are just about at 171, and you want it to be between 175 and 180, and then you want to hold it at that temperature for about 10 minutes. Oh, I didn't know what you were doing. I was like, what's that noise? So the trick is, if you have a gas stove, that's really easy because you can just fiddle with the fire. This is an electric stove, which we all know I'm not a fan of, but I will make it work. So what I'll probably end up doing is just picking it up off of the stove and then putting it back down, trying to hold that temperature for about 10 minutes. Yeah, it's really, I am not a fan of electric stoves. I would almost rather do it on a wood stove than on electric. Eventually one day we're going to get the gas line run. We have a propane tank, but it's not hooked up to anything. So, because we just don't use it. It was hooked up to, the furnace, which we have one, but we never use it because we heat with wood stove. So, no big deal. So the only ingredients you're going to need is a gallon of goat's milk, full fat. You don't want to try to skim off as little fat or cream off the top as you can. Although sometimes you want to skim off the cream because you want to make butter. So, but this has been skimmed, but it's still a full fat. And then a gallon. Don't use a gallon. Use a cup of apple cider vinegar. Yeah, so, okay, so we are like right at 175. So I'm going to set this timer for 10 minutes. One of the ways you can keep it from I love frozen goat's milk from I don't see why not. I would thaw it out and see what the consistency is, just because sometimes how like when you freeze milk and then you thaw it out, it's kind of watery. And part of it might be that if they already skimmed most of that cream off, that it's not enough consistency to keep it thick. So if you can find out if it was just fresh raw from the goat and then they just froze it, it should be okay. But if not, it might be too watery. So I know some people try to make cheese with like skim milk and stuff. And I don't know, why would you do that? It's cheese. You know what? Just eat the dang cheese. So let's just try to keep this at temperature. This really is kind of a pain to do it this way, but I'll do just about anything for cheese. That's good. Yeah, I don't want to like shake it around or anything. I put this on the stove to start coming to temperature. I put it on at 6:30, a little bit after 6:30. So it's a while. It takes a little while, but I mean, if all you're doing is just, you can do all kinds of other stuff while you're waiting for that to happen. So, I wanted to tell you guys, I don't know if you're friends with me on Facebook, if you saw that our neighbors had this cutest little dog, the cutest little dog, and they built like it's not even a run, it's more of a pen. It's small. And they put her out there and they just leave her out there. Like, it was pouring rain yesterday, and she was out there all alone, crying and crying and crying. And just as I was about ready to call animal services, they came home and took her in. Well, they did it again today. They stuck her out there, and it was really starting to pour rain. So Darian went out there and tried to get her to bring her in the house, and she wouldn't come to him. So we have a crate that we move our chickens around in, and so he took the crate up there, and we put a towel in the bottom of it, and so she's up there in that still. But it's still pouring, and then it started hailing. Like, what would that poor dog have done out there? There's no food, no water, no shelter. I was pissed. People can be so dumb sometimes. I mean, these people that there are neighbors, I mean, they're sweet, sweet, sweet people. They're really, really nice, but damn, really? Makes me want to hit you over the head with a frying pan. All right, it's still at temperature, so I'm gonna let it sit there for a minute. Because once it comes to temperature, once it's at like 165, it can get hot really, really fast. So you really want to keep an eye on it. It feels like at the beginning it's taking forever, and you want to kind of crank up the heat to get it to go, but don't do that because you'll scorch it, and then you'll have scorched tasting milk or cheese, and nobody wants that. Well, I don't know. Somebody might like that. Not me. So, and I also have another gallon of this in the refrigerator out there. So tomorrow I'm going to make feta cheese, goat feta. That'll be really good. Stick this back on. It's a little back and forth game. What else has been going on? Oh, so yesterday I went to the emergency management office here for our county, and they, the guy there let me kind of, went over with me the emergency preparedness plan for, and the hazards, the biggest hazards that they look for, the risk that each hazard brings to the table, and the vulnerabilities. And then he went over all the, not all obviously because it's a lot, but a lot of the mitigation that they've been doing to try to reduce the risks. So that's been pretty interesting. I know everybody thinks I'm a total dork. Alan's like, go for it, baby. That's all you. Whatever. I think it's interesting. You know, better be safe than sorry, you know? So we still got like 6 minutes left here. So, but I can't really leave it because I have to keep watching the temperature. So dumb. Ugh, it's frustrating. So you won't see this all the way come to cheese tonight because it has to sit. I'll show you the process, but it'll be hanging in that cheesecloth for 2 to 5 hours in this big pot here, in the refrigerator. And that's when all that whey that we drain off and collect in here, I'll be giving to the chickens because that's really, really good for them too. And they love it. They're so funny. You put it out there and you act like I don't know. You know what they love? They love freaking scrambled eggs, man. Whenever we start to get a whole bunch of eggs, I'll just scramble up a dozen and give them to them. People are like, oh my God, that's so weird. But they love it and it's good for them. So I'm not going to complain. Although I've been doing a lot of steamed eggs for the guys, like hard boiled, but they're steamed. Man, I made, 16 the other day, and the next day they were all gone. Who eats 16 eggs? That's a lot of eggs. Whatever. I think I gave 1 to the chickens. Oh, we're still in temperature here. You just don't want it to get too hot, not above 180. Like I said, the temperature, once it starts getting hot, it gets all excited and starts getting hot, 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 hot. So you got to really watch it so it doesn't get out of hand. So really the hardest part of this is waiting for it to come to temperature and then waiting for it to... The hardest part is waiting. I don't want to wait. So, but I have to wait till tomorrow because tomorrow is when it will be cheese. So, but you could do this, because the pot is so big, I could do 2 gallons of milk to 2 cups of apple cider vinegar. And 1 gallon of milk will give you about a pound of cheese, give or take. So that's a pretty good return, you know, for a gallon of milk. And then we've been, our friends that have the goats, we've been trading our eggs with them because they had to get rid of their chickens. Well, because they're moving, blah, blah, anything, or whatever. But, yeah, that's still okay. Yeah, so we've been trading for milk with them. So I'm like, get as much milk as I can before they leave, because you could freeze the cheese. It's it just turns out when you thaw it, it's more crumbly. Not that goat cheese isn't already crumbly, but I guess it would be even more crumbly. And feta cheese, as long as it's in a brine, you know, it'll stay good for months as long as you keep it in the brine. Put this back on. See, this is a pain in the neck if you've got electric. So if you can at all avoid it, I say don't do it. I really would almost rather do this over a fire. It would be easier. Because you can squirt the fire a little bit, you know, with the what's that? Squirt bottle. Yeah, so we got 2 minutes left. And then once that's done, we're going to leave it on the heat and add our apple cider vinegar, but very slowly. And when I do that, I want it to incorporate more than it would if I used a wooden spoon. I'm using a wooden spoon right now just so that it kind of is better at getting the bottom and making sure it's all stirred in there. But when I add the apple cider vinegar, I want it to get really, really well incorporated, so I'm going to be using this one here. Let me put this way. I've got got this whole wall over here of cast iron skillets. I love them. That's about all I ever use. We do have a couple other, I have a stainless one and another, 1 minute left, non-stick one, but I don't use them hardly at all. I almost exclusively cook with cast iron because I love it. We're gonna have cheese in a minute. So once I add the apple cider vinegar and it's really well and incorporated, then I take it off the heat, and then I'll show you like how it comes. You'll see it separate into the curds and whey. It's actually pretty cool. The first time I made cheese, I was like, what? No way. And I didn't even actually realize, that they're like curds and whey. And you're like, oh, Little Miss Muffet. And then you realize, oh, curds and whey, I get it. I get it. I just don't want it to burn. Burn, baby, burn, Disco Inferno. All right, we're almost ready. Yeah, see, it gets hot really quick, so you got to keep an eyeball on it. All right, now we are slowly going to add this. I just add a little bit at a time. Let me take this out. And that vinegar will get it to curdle pretty dang quick, which is exactly what you want. A pound of goat cheese. I am so freaking excited. I love goat cheese. I love it on pizza, you guys. Darien makes really, really good pizza crust, homemade pizza crust. So we love the that. And then actually what you can do is use the whey afterwards. If I don't give it to the chickens, you can reheat that up and it's a whole nother process, but you can use that and make ricotta cheese with it. So nothing goes to waste around here. Yeah, it's already starting to separate. Little at a time. Ah, I'm so excited. You can totally smell the vinegar at first. Once it gets all processed and in there, you can't taste the vinegar. Okay, I'm gonna take this off of here. Ugh. All right. So this is like, let me go. I'm gonna bring you over here so you can see this. I don't have goats. You know what? I don't have goats yet either. Not yet, but I will. So I don't know if you can see how it's separated. It's like my phone is like, you're not supposed to do that. So I don't know if you can see all that liquid. That's the whey. And let me see if I can get you in here. And I'll pull out a scoop of this. And those are the curds right there. See? That's the cheesies. Okay. So I'm going to let that cool for just I think I always have to read the directions. Remove from heat. Oh, it wants me to do it right now. You know what? I don't like to, you have pregnant sheep. You make sheep milk cheese. That would be awesome. You know what? You can totally do this same process with any milk. I mean, the first butter that was ever made was made on accident. It was made, they believe it was made with used milk, and somebody just put the milk in like a bladder thing, and they were traveling, and when they got there, it was separated and they had butter. Like, it was a total accident. So, yeah, I think, I don't know why somebody would want you to do this when it's still hot, but I'll show you. I'll go ahead and do it. It'll be all right. So I've got my strainer right here, and then I've got my bowl underneath it because I want to catch all that whey. And I guess I just need to be careful. I just don't want to burn myself because I have a tendency to not be the most graceful person on the planet. Let me get my pot holders. In fact, we went out the other night for St. Patrick's Day, and you guys, I got totally plowed. Oh my gosh, I was like I was doing fine until I started doing freaking tequila shots. All right. I know I fell and got a big bruise on my leg, whatever, man. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pour this in here. Now, normally, I've got a lot of whey in here, so I'm going to want to strain it a couple times. That's why I didn't line my colander yet with, there's still more in there, with butter muslin. But normally you would go ahead and line this with butter muslin, but I've got a lot of whey in here, and I want to get that out of there. So I'm going to dump this back into the pot, and then re-drain it, and I'll line the thing with the butter muslin. See, look at all that. And the whey is super, super good for you. That's a really lot of whey. I cannot wait to bite this. And once it's turned to cheese, which would be in about 5 hours, because I'm going to hang it, like I said. Once it has turned to cheese, that's when you would add, if you want to add a little bit of salt to it. I normally don't, because goat cheese is kind of salty by itself anyways, but you can. Same thing with butter, because it acts as a preservative. So there's still like cheese down in this pot here, you guys. All right, so I'll just kind of spoon it in. Man, that is a lot of whey. Back in the day, people used to spend a lot of money just to get the whey from the cheesemakers, because it was considered a but you remember when they did that, like, I don't know if you guys remember, they used to have like water bars where you would go, and back in like the Victorian era, and that was like the fancy, like what the rich people, they would go to these, like, drinking this artesian well water stuff, and they were kind of, Victorians are weird. But so I'm gonna move. Yeah, there's not much left in there, so this is hot. Okay, now I'll show you. Okay, so you take your butter muslin, like so, and lay it down in there. And you want to kind of, you're gonna want to kind of watch it, because one of the things that, if you go ahead and just dump everything in with your whey already in there, the sides tend to fall in, and then you're not gonna be able to tie your bundle up. So you just kind of have to eyeball it sometimes. And there's a lot of times, I mean, it's a gallon to a cup. A gallon of milk to a cup of vinegar. So, I mean, if you're pretty good at eyeballing your measurements, you really don't even need to measure it. I shouldn't tell you that, but I did. All right, let me dump this back in. All right. There we go. All right. Yeah, and it's just like kind of unwieldy because I'm small too. So there you have your curds, and your whey is over in the bowl. Curds and whey. Now I'm Little Miss Muppet. So now what I'm going to do is gather up these edges really good. Let me see if I can get Darian in here to help me tie this up. It's kind of a two-person process. Darian! You probably can't hear me. Can you come here, baby? Yeah. So there's your packet of cheese. Can you tie me a piece of get me a piece of twine? I need to tie this and then tie it around a spoon.
Or do you want it like that?
We need to go around it like 2 or 3 times.
So, yeah, that should be fine.
So what we're doing is we're just going to let it drain into this pot for like 5 hours. It depends on how moist you want your cheese. If you want it really wet. Hi, Janice. Here, go ahead and tie that around there. Darian's a great sous chef. Actually, he's a really good cook. He makes really, really good tortillas. Maybe that's what we'll make next time, tortillas. Janice can't have tortillas because she's got celiac.
What?
Look at Janice says, hey, big guy.
Hi.
Is that good? Tie it in a knot, you think?
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
And then grab me one of those
What the...
wooden spoons.
Yeah.
And then we'll tie it around that.
That should be fine.
Yeah. And then tie that around there. Do it, yeah, do it that way. And you want it up high enough so that once it starts draining, you don't want the whey touching the bottom of the bag because then your cheese is going to be wetter than it really actually needs to be. Let's see. And, oh, that's too, you know what? We'll just reuse this pot. Now that one's nice and dirty for no good reason.
I'm not washing that one.
What? This one?
No, this one.
There. See?
Hope
That
it's
works.
All over.
You know what? We already drained off a lot of the whey, so it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Am I good?
Yeah, thank you. It would have been a bigger deal if we hadn't have drained off all that whey first, because you don't want it sitting in that. There's a fuzzy in there. So, oh gosh. Yeah, okay. So that's that. That's going to be cheese in about anywhere between 2 and 5 hours, depending on how like crumbly you want your cheese. And that's it. And then you can, hi baby. And then you can put it in the fridge, and it'll keep, as long as you keep it nice and sealed in there, it'll keep for a good couple weeks. Of course, it never lasts that long in our house.
Right?
And then I wanted to show you guys one more thing. We got just enough time.
This is good timing.
Yep, the big reveal. I've been wanting one of these forever and ever. There's Alan back there. Hi, baby. La, 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 la. Look at what he made, you guys. Let me turn you around. Let me. I gotta figure out how to do it without disconnecting everybody. Look at that thing. Isn't that adorable? I love it. And this is all made from scrap wood, you guys, except for the pillows.
Yeah, those are not scrap wood.
No, those aren't scrap wood. But, yep, and it's got a little thing where we're going to store some blankets. Janice says hi to you.
Hi.
See? And then,
Then we're going to line these sections here with cedar.
so does Teresa. She says hi.
So it'll be a cedar chest.
We're going to have a cedar chest. I hope I don't step on my dog. That would be bad. Yeah, so he finished that. That was quite a project because he had to do most of it by hand, like the curves in the arms and stuff right there.
Do all
Everything
this by
had to be
hand.
done by hand
All this by hand. These are actually the pieces from underneath there
from that little piece.
where I cut this out and then shaped it.
Yeah. So there's that. I'm so excited. I love it. I've been wanting one of those. And then he's going to add some like coat hooks to it up underneath the, right there, like 3 little coat hook things right there.
Like the kind you get like at the bar.
Yeah. Like a purse hook.
Yep.
So there's that. Look how cute he is. Hi, baby. Oh my God, you're such a cheese ball.
Yep. I'm the comedy relief.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right. Do you guys? Janice says, "Do you guys ship to Southern California?" No, no. What, the cheese or the benches? Okay. Oh, you're cooking, or is that me? That's probably me, like that. Let's see, what time is it? Okay, I think we are just almost right about on time. So, yeah, maybe next week we'll make homemade tortillas because they're super easy. And yeah, Julie, we'll see you next month. yeah, so if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button so you don't miss anything. You can find me all over the place. We're on Instagram. Where else are we? We're all over the. If you go to the this video on YouTube, in the description, there's all the links of every. Yeah, you can totally use gluten-free flour. You can find all the links where you can find us. And if there's anything specific that you want to see us do or don't do, make sure you put that down in the comments and we will make it happen or not happen, as the case may be. So that is it for tonight. It was great to see all you guys. I'm glad you could make it. So go out there and make yourself some cheese and then let me know how it turns out. And tell me like what kind of milk you're using, your processes. Cheese is super easy to make, especially the soft cheeses. That's the way to go. Because, well, we can't do hard cheeses yet because we don't have a press yet. But, yeah, not yet. So, that's it for tonight. All right, we'll see you guys later. Peace out. Be the change.